I'm at the drugstore in Falcon, Colorado when the thing grabs my arm. The squeeze hurts like a mother. A debtor's muscles don't relax once they've got a hold. I jam my hunting knife into the woman's eye, working the blade until it finds whatever part of her brain keeps her upright, and she drops. The woman's grip pulls me to the floor with her as 5 of her office mates stumble up from outside. First 3 struggle in the doorframe as either one tries to get in first. I stab into the woman's wrist, severing the tendons. Through the tingling of reawakening nerves, I shoulder her remains into the ankles of her office mates, now through the door and nearly on top of me. I run to the staff door beside the pharmacy. Locked. The service window is open. I hop onto the counter and butt slide over. After the damage I've taken, I need that Vicodin now, more than when I started this morning. Which I see has been cleaned out. Shit. Their formerly white shirts smeared brown and black, their ragged ties stiff with old blood, our first 3 office stooges get their numb, dead feet back under them. The 2 others behind them shuffle and growl for the delay. Now all 5 are reaching for me over the counter, trying to work out how to get over it without falling face forward and losing their footing again. Their craving to chew into my warm, living flesh will soon overcome the matter of their undead dignity. Here, with their arms outstretched, their heads laid out across the counter, these ghouls are all but offering themselves to me. I pull my panga from my belt. My beautiful panga, weapon of choice of the Rwandan genocide and the most invaluable souvenir of my Kansas adventure. My left arm is hobbled from the woman's crushing grip, so it's raw adrenaline driving its wide blade through the arms of the first 2 office stooges and the near hand of the third before sticking halfway through his other wrist. I use the jammed blade to pull him towards me. I slip the claw hammer from my belt and swing it hard between his eyes. His wrist snaps away from the blade as he drops. The remaining 2 squall with rage, thumping their bleeding stumps uselessly on the counter as I deliver one swift tap each to their skulls, and they fall. The last 2 approach the counter. I bend my knees slightly, drawing long breaths of hot, fetid air through my nose. I feel the crushing pain in my arm, the queasiness in my belly. May I help the next customer, please? I switch hands with the panga and the hammer, slicing through the arms of the first office stooge and chopping into the neck of the second. I switch the hammer to my right hand and fling it across his temple. His head tumbles away, smacking wetly upon the floor. As the corpse gravy gurgles over his neck stump, I'm making a neat crater between the eyes of his buddy. He's been bellowing something fierce since I sliced off his hands. No telling how many others have heard him. I turn back to the inventory. I find half a tray of Percocet. Whoever got here before me got the popular stuff. Gotta admit, nothing Big Pharma offered back in the day could give you such a good, clean, happy-to-be-alive buzz like a Vike and a beer. Beer is no longer an option, of course. At least I have something so this arm won't keep me up all night. I grab some antibiotics on the way out, hoping I won't have to use them because they're probably no good anyway. Pretty soon none of these pills will be any good. Sucks to be us. While bagging my groceries in Ziplocs and dropping them into the pockets of my hunting vest, I see another woman and her 2 orbiters groping at the pharmacy drive-thru window. The loud clunka-clunka of one pulling at the emergency exit door will draw even more of Falcon's former citizens here. I open the pharmacy staff door and walk out through the front of the store. I marvel at how often I'm able to leave the way I come in most places these days. Life is good. Hot as it is, I suppose it's July already. Unless they're sure of someone to eat, the dead tend to sit out the hottest part of the day in the shade. This means I have no trouble making my way back to the big yellow truck. It's only when I actually get there that I find your standard-issue mentally ill homeless thing in an army jacket and a Charles Manson beard pawing at the passenger side door. This pisses me off just as much as if he was alive and begging cigarettes and change instead of gob-stopping mouthfuls of soft tissue from around my collarbone. I jog up to it. It moans loudly as it senses my approach. I slash and hit it in 2 clean motions. I leap to the chrome runner and pull at the passenger door. I'm sure I didn't lock this. I thumb the button on my remote and yank the door open. "Please," says the woman from the floor in front of the seat. "God damn it!" I can hear the shuffling, scraping approach of the others. I slam the door and run around to the driver's side. I pull myself up into the cab and start the engine. "Sit up and put on your seatbelt now!" I've already got the truck in reverse so I can bump the ghouls shambling up behind us. I roll over them twice before spinning a tire on one. I've got more coming in from the front. 5, now 7, 12. I plow into the thickest part of the mob, knocking their bodies flailing and broken upon one another before reversing into another 3 following too closely. The rear bumps and dips as an industrious Bubba in gore-blackened overalls clambers into the flatbed. The woman next to me shrieks, "Do that again and I swear to God I'll feed you to them!" Her eyes bulge, brimming with tears. "I'm sorry," she says. "Don't be sorry. Be quiet!" I turn around to see more raggedy, chewed-over once people pulling themselves into the flatbed. I let my foot off the brake, coaxing the truck over the ones I knocked over. I reverse again to make sure those on the tailgate fall face forward into the flatbed. I stop to let some more climb up. No one wants to miss the lunch wagon. "Your eyes still open?" I ask my stowaway. She whimpers. "Good. Make yourself useful and count the ones I finish off." I drive out of the parking lot, 18 or 20 rotters weighing heavily on the frame of the truck. A young man in a wife beater and board shorts falls away from the front grill. I don't feel anything under the tire, so he misses getting run over. The bug-eyed woman beating on the passenger side window is flicked off as I bang through one of the deeper potholes on this crumbling street. I turn right. The road is clear, but that will last 1 minute, maybe 2 at best, before the inhabitants of the surrounding neighborhoods come pouring in from all sides to the sound of my engine. I bring the truck up to 50 miles per hour, careful not to pull away so fast that the ones in the flatbed fall back. I want them all leaning forward, trying to hold on, trying to get at all the living, breathing, meaty goodness in the cab. I'm up to 65 before I hit the brakes. Not too hard, this thing is easy to flip. Just enough to send these ugly wastes of skin sailing over the cab. Once I'm sure we've slowed enough, I cut the wheel to send the ones who slammed into the back window tumbling over the side. Their heads crack on the wide asphalt and they're done. Assholes in suits, assholes in t-shirts and jeans, and at least one dress. No, make that 2. Plus a pantsuit. "How many?" I ask my new companion. 9 down for sure. I see 5 others. They're crawling. Good. The impact breaks bones in every one of them. The ones that miss splitting their heads open in the westbound lanes have 1 or no legs to walk with. Most don't even have intact arms with which to pull themselves along. They twitch furiously, their broken, useless limbs hanging limp beside their road-torn bodies. I turn the truck back towards Falcon, aiming the big tires at the heads of the floppers and crawlers, like popping bubble wrap. I've got to make 2 more turnarounds in the road to get them all. My new companion makes a sound. She says. "What?" Speak up, damn it! "I think... No, there's one still in back. There!" I glance at the rear view. Son of a bitch! I stop the truck and jump out. I walk back and pull down the tailgate. A teenage boy kicks and thrashes, the old blood stiff on what's left of a designer brand shirt. His parents put some money into his wardrobe. I wonder if they got their faces chewed off for their trouble. He's got the telltale scabbing about his mouth. He won't be reaching out for me, though. Boy dislocated his shoulders holding onto the lip of the flatbed. That rigor-driven death grip works against them sometimes. I step back and he kicks and snaps after me. He worms over the tailgate and face plants to the asphalt. He lifts his damaged face up from the pavement by his neck and gnashes broken teeth at me. I slam the tailgate shut and nudge the boy's head with my boot so it's in line with my left rear tire. I climb into my truck and shift into reverse. I hardly feel the bump as I put the truck in the drive and roll over it again on my way towards town. I see lines of ghoulies stumbling in from the surrounding fields. "Where do you want me to drop you off?" I say, steering around the crash in the intersection. A gray woman in a tattered bathrobe lurks behind the minivan, but backs away as I approach. "What? No!" Well, not here, obviously. The dead for miles around heard the banshee screech of tires when I slung the last of the locals from the flatbed. The early arrivals are stepping off the curb and crowding into the road. So far, they're hesitant to step directly in front of the truck. One tries to stumble run alongside. I slow to match his speed and then swing my door open on him. He flips to the side in a neat arc. He might cartwheel on his outstretched arms and legs if he had better motor control. He doesn't. "You're not going to put me out here, are you?" I can hear the near panic in her voice. "So what you're saying is you got no one around here. Is that it?" I have some things in a place. Somewhere." "Where is it?" "You can't drop me off." I stomped the brakes, slamming us forward against our seat belts. Even so, we're pushed forward a smidge as the parade of former citizens behind us barked their kneecaps on the bumper and slammed their heads into the tailgate. A chorus of piteous moans rises behind us as the dead bringing up the rear trample the fallen, using their bodies to step up into the flatbed. My stowaway squares her back between the seat and the door frame. She ignores the slapping on her window from the once pretty lady missing half of her face who has climbed up to the booster rail on her side. "It's not human," the woman says. "You can't put a defenseless—" Now her watery brown eyes are all about the flat black barrel of my Glock. I could rack the slide for effect like they used to do in the movies, and I'm sure it would be the only thing she'd hear too, despite all the slapping and thumping about the truck. All she needs to hear, though, is this. "You do not climb into my truck unasked and tell me what to do." "Shut up! I'll be fighting for my life against mobs of stinkers you'll bring straight to us because you can't stay quiet and you can't stay still." I'll be good," she says. "Here's the deal. Don't talk. Don't ask questions. I'll take you to where I'm staying and we'll get you something to eat. After that, we'll decide on where you go." She sinks back into her seat as I holster my Glock and make my turn back towards Colorado Springs. Once it's clear I'm going the same way I did with the last bunch, a low, angry growling rises from all around the truck. I feel the frame lightening as two more let go, trying to land as gingerly as their reanimated reflexes will allow. I drive faster down the 3-lane westbound before I hit the brakes. The swerve goes harder than I like, and for a gut-freezing moment I fear the truck will go over on its side if not flip outright. The stinky once people are thrown clear, though. Every last one, and we're still on 4 wheels. Life is good. Through a blue curtain of smoking rubber, I steer us back into the eastbound lanes among a crowd of death-shriveled faces and dry, blank eyes white with dust. The former citizens of Falcon, Colorado stand frozen in their tracks like some strange and ugly municipal art project. Only their heads move as their undead senses follow our progress. I spare a glance towards my stowaway as I turn left down US 24. 13 the first trip, she says quietly. "Did you have your eyes closed on the second go-round?" I say as we speed away from Falcon. "Or were you mad because I had to point a gun at you?" "You got an even 20, including the one running alongside the truck, and the 2 before you made your turn." "Great. I wasn't planning on taking so many deaders out of the local population. I just wanted a few things from town."